Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about one of the biggest transits of this fall, where the nodes changes signs. So they will change signs on November 28th from the sign of Aries and Libra and into Pisces and Virgo. But before I begin, I would also like to say I will be talking about the sidereal placements as used in Vedic astrology. If you're new to this channel, hi! My name is RoseAnna, I'm a Vedic astrologer. On this channel, I talk about planetary transits and new and full moon updates. So if you're interested in that, you can subscribe below. So the nodes changing signs is one of the biggest transits that we will have this fall. And it's something that happens every 1.5 years, so it's not too often that they change signs. But what does happen when they change signs is it causes usually either pivotal events or unexpected changes, or because they have this effect on changing the focus of our lives or our minds as a collective, you could say. So, and I will be talking about what these transits will mean for each sign individually. But first, more generally speaking, so the nodes have been for the past 1.5 years in the sign of Aries and Libra. So here they have been very concerned with our individual development, our individuation process, and how that relates to our ability to compromise and to be in a harmonious relationship with other people. So now the focus will shift a bit more because Rahu will move backwards. The nodes always move in this backward motion through the signs, and Rahu will move into Pisces. So this will create a more focus on not so much our outer world, but much more so pertaining to the inner world, our inner realms. It's a actually very good transit for developing and deepening our spirituality. It can be a very spiritual transit because Pisces is the sign that wants the higher connection, that wants to feel connected to it all, not just to all of humanity, but all of the to all of the cosmos even. So it's a sign of what would you say, unbounding attachments and of letting go. It could be not detached, but very not so much interested in all of the material aspects and all of the minuscule details of life. It's more concerned with how we feel about things, how do we feel inside. So Rahu here, another thing also before I continue, Pisces is also a sign that can be quite would you say isolated, because the highest expression of Pisces is that of like the ultimate unity with everything in the universe. But on the downside, there's a tendency to feel either isolated or detached from not just reality, but from our connections with reality. So it could be a quite lonely sign in this aspect. And so Rahu moving in here creates this focus on everything that has to do with Pisces. And this will of course mean different things for each of the signs, each of the ascendants individually, but on a general level, or on a collective level, it really deals with these feelings of our place in the world, our connection with the world, our connection with our higher self, and of our inner reality, let's say. And Ketu has been in the sign of Libra for the past 1.5 years. And Ketu in Libra can be quite challenging in that it could make us a little bit unwilling or disinterested in compromising with our desires, our wants and desires, and can make us quite because also Ketu can be a little bit perfectionistic. Do you say that? Perfectionist. And so this energy can be quite difficult to deal with in our relationships. But now Ketu will move into Virgo. And so wherever Ketu goes, Ketu is the opposite side of Rahu. So where Rahu creates obsessions and huge desires to experience things and to know things and to, immerse in the experiences and the reality, often the materialistic reality of things. Ketu, on the other hand, is that influence of disconnect, because Ketu's like, been there, done that, it's no longer relevant, or it's no longer that interesting, because Ketu represents those experiences that we've already gained. So it's not new, it's not that interesting, it's not that alluring, yeah, whatever, you know? So Ketu also has this that quality of not just disinterest, but also dissatisfaction. So wherever Ketu goes, or wherever Ketu is situated in our natal charts, is often an area of life where we're less than satisfied with whatever results that house produces. So Ketu can be quite perfectionistic and disinterested. So when Ketu moves into Virgo, what is Virgo? Virgo is the sign that pertains to our health. In a way, it's quite sensitive sign. It's a sign of practical action, daily routines, order, and I was about to say harmony, but yeah, kind of, because Virgo has the ability to identify all of those things that are not in alignment. It's a sign of discernment, of analytical thinking. And so Ketu here, it's a little bit of detective placement, you might say, but it could also make us quite either unwilling to keep up with our health regimen, let's say, or our daily routines, because we're not really that interested. But it could also make us become, what would you say, even more nitpicky with our routines, what we eat, very not dissatisfied with, but what would you say, quite firm, because Ketu has this way of shedding all that is not necessary or all that is superfluous. So just what's important and just getting down to what is the core of everything. So in a sense, it could be quite a good time for going through a, what would you say, a cleanse or a detox of sorts, because Ketu is this negating influence, and anything that is in excess, Ketu wants to cut away. But Virgo, let me just say this also, that Virgo is a sign that deals a lot with what sacrifices we make, and not just short-term, but usually those long-term sacrifices that we make either for our work, our family, our the closest relationships to us. So Ketu here can also create a dissatisfaction with our commitments and our sacrifices, and make us a little bit unwilling perhaps to perform those duties or perform those sacrifices. So that could be something to keep in mind with this transit as well. So generally speaking, if you look at the nodes from the perspective of our birth chart or our personal horoscope, the nodes are these powerful points of manifestation. They describe the karma, the unavoidable or inescapable karma that we arrive in this lifetime with, that we have to, but that we're strongly called to accomplish, or those experiences that we have with us from our past that we carry in our backpack, let's say. But when we look at the nodes, when we assess the nodes from by transit, it's more pertaining to current states of mind, what we are currently working through, which experiences we currently need on that state we are in on our journey, and what experiences, what desires the mind is currently longing to experience in order to evolve and to grow. Because eventually it's all about the growth of our soul and the gaining of wisdom and experiences. But sometimes in order to gain that wisdom and those experiences, we have to make all of those crazy mistakes that Rahu can get us to make. But hopefully we come out on the other side all the wiser. But so that's one way to assess the nodes by transit. It's the current focus and the current illusions, if you will, of the mind, and what experiences we need to gain here and now on our journey. So now I will take the time to go through what this transit will mean for each of the 12 signs, beginning with the sign of Aries. So for Aries, this will take place in your 6th and 12th house axis, where Rahu moves into your 12th house in Pisces and Ketu moves into your 6th house in Virgo. So for you, this will really put into focus all of those things which I talked about previously, where the focus is really on your spirituality, your inner realms, and it could even make you a little bit more prone to either fantasy and daydreaming or escapism, where you sort of detach a little bit from your commitments and your work life even, or your daily routines, and sort of drift off a little bit into the what would you say, the higher realms of Pisces, or those inner realms, the fantasy of Pisces a little bit. So make sure to stay grounded with your routines and take care of your health during this time. It could be a good time for you to do a cleanse or clean up your daily routines, let go of anything that is not really serving you or that is not really necessary, and to take care of even your diet or your exercise regimen perhaps. You might also feel a little bit less than willing to do the hard work or to do the necessary work and perform the necessary tasks, let's say. Do things that help you stay grounded, stay focused, and find things that you can anchor your work to, routines that you might anchor your work to help yourself stay motivated. You might feel like questioning, is this really worth it? Is it worth it to do all of this work? And it could be a time where you're reevaluating all of your commitments and sorting through which commitments feel worthwhile and meaningful to you, and what things you might feel inclined to just let it go, that don't really serve you or that you don't feel in your heart is worth it. So reflect on which commitments you're willing to stick to. It could also be a time where things surface a little bit from the past, and where either deep emotions or memories from the past begin to surface for you. So be prepared to assess what you are feeling a little bit, but don't let it take over, and don't pull into the escapism of Pisces. Just observe, assess, and release what needs to be released at this time. So for Taurus, for you, this takes place in your 5th house of creativity and passion and children, and your 11th house of social circles, friendships, communities, and your higher vision for your life. So this will be the main focus for you. Ketu moving into your 5th house could be a time where you are beginning to sort through your interests and your passion projects, where you can suddenly begin to feel you're losing interest in certain projects or certain interests that no longer really hold your fire, so or that no longer capture your inner fire. So it could be time to let some of those things go. So it could be a time of refining your passions, let's say, and getting more in touch with what you are truly feeling passionate about in your heart, and finding more connection to your heart's true desires. With Rahu moving into your 11th house, you can feel more pulled and more drawn towards expanding your social life. It could be finding new social circles or expanding your communities in different ways. And it could also be a time where there are some deep changes in your relationships with your friendships. So perhaps you suddenly begin to see someone in a new light, or there's changes in relationships where suddenly some friends maybe fall away or new relationships begin to form. So there's changes, massive changes in all of those structures, those social structures. It could also be a time where you're feeling much more pulled toward focusing on what is your higher vision, what is your higher goals that you are working towards, and getting more in touch with what you truly believe is important, what truly makes you feel motivated, either in your projects or your work, or what you wish to accomplish in your life, no matter which area that pertains to. So it could be a time where you're reassessing a bit what it is that truly inspires you and what you truly wish to accomplish. What are your dreams? What is the vision you hold for your future? Or perhaps this is a time of revisiting or changing, creating a new vision that feels more aligned for the future you wish to create. Gemini, for you this takes place in your 4th house of home, emotions, and your mother, and the 10th house of your career, work, and your personal authority. So Ketu moving into your 4th house can be an emotionally challenging time in a way, because Ketu in the 4th has this ability of dredging up emotions from the past, or a close relationship perhaps from the past that have left either emotional wounds or those deep-rooted memories that could be coming to the surface for you at this time. It could also be a time where you wish to make certain changes in your home, or either in your home or home work-life balance. If you feel that this balance between your home life and your work life is out of alignment, this could be a time to focus on getting back into and creating more harmony with this. It could be a time where you feel your emotions are a bit all over the place, and you might feel more uncertain about what are you feeling inside. And it could also be a time where, because Ketu can put the focus on your intuition with this transit as well. So it could be a great time to focus on strengthening your intuition and strengthening that inner voice, that inner knowing that guides you. It could also be a time where, if you've been dealing with some uncertainties at work, this could become more clear at this time. It could also be a time of changing or doing changes at your work. Perhaps you feel more clear on what your goals are, what your long-term goals are with your work, and are ready to make certain changes in your commitments, your projects, or anything pertaining to your work and your career. Cancer, for you this takes place in your 3rd house of interest, communications, close community and siblings, and your 9th house of higher wisdom, higher teachings, and your life philosophy and beliefs. So this can be a time of re-evaluating and questioning all that you hold to be true, and all of those beliefs that you are operating out of in your life. So it could be a time where you begin to feel, with Ketu moving into your 3rd house of interest, where you suddenly begin to feel you are losing interest in what you usually are interested in, or it could be changes in your close community with Ketu moving in your 3rd house. It could also be a time where an old interest from the past resurfaces yet again, or even where your personal style of communication and expressing yourself is put through the focus, because Ketu has this sharpening influence. So for you, this also pertains to your communication. So it could make you prone to be a little bit more direct and on the point during this time, a little bit more no-nonsense style of communication. So this is something to perhaps keep in mind as well. Then Rahu moving into your 9th house means that your higher focus or your higher vision, your teachings, your beliefs, and your life philosophy will be put under the microscope. And it could be a time where you feel drawn to immerse yourself in a new teaching. It could be a great time to study for you. And it could also be a time where if you've been feeling dissatisfied with either a teaching or a teacher, it could be a time where you begin to sort through what vision or what teaching you really wish to follow. And it could be a time of what would you say, almost like a journey beginning for you, a journey of revisiting your life philosophy and your beliefs. It could be a time where everything you previously believed are shaken to the core and you're reevaluating your stance in life and in your life philosophy even. So it could also be more literally a journey where you are feeling called to embark on a long journey or travel to foreign places during this time. But all in all, it could be a time of new ideas rising and new creativity coming into your life. Leo, for you, this takes place in your 2nd house of your family, values, and your assets, and in your 8th house of deep emotions and transformation. So Ketu moving into your 2nd house could be a time where you are revisiting things from your childhood, or childhood memories begin to surface, and you're also in a place where you are dealing a bit more and reevaluating your own personal values. Perhaps it's a time where you're ready to let go of certain values that no longer feel aligned with who you are presently and where you are currently. So you might be ready to let go of some things or let go of things from the past. It could also be a time where your beliefs and your patterns when it comes to your assets are coming into question, where you might feel changes coming in how you think about money, how you think about your assets, what are your deeper patterns and patterning when it comes to those things. And it could be a time where you're letting go of all of those things that no longer feel aligned and that no longer serve you. And Rahu moving into your 8th house could also be a quite emotionally intense time. You could feel more sensitive at this time. Your intuition might feel a little bit stronger during this transit. It could be a great time to do things that help you strengthen your intuition and practice your intuition. It could also be a time where if you are feeling more emotionally sensitive, it's good to be mindful of your emotions and to know that perhaps not everything you are feeling actually belong to you. If you are prone to taking in the energy and the emotions of your environment that surrounds you. So be mindful of what you are feeling, but try to create peace and harmony and a sense of calm, especially when dealing with situations or either people or certain situations that make you feel uneasy or on edge, because it could be a time where Rahu increases your own insecurities and fears with the 8th house. So observe what you are feeling, but do things that help you stay mindful and connected at this time. Virgo, for you, this takes place in your first house of yourself, your body, and your vitality, and your seventh house of relationships and your partner. So Ketu moving into your first house could be a time where you're naturally a little bit more selective with what situations or what people you surround yourself with, and you might feel a little bit more discerning with what you wish to take into your energy and what you wish to surround yourself with. On a physical level, they could mean a good time to do a cleanse or a detox and just clear out whatever is not supposed to be or what is not aligned with your energy and your in the best what is not best for your vitality. And it could also be a time to be more vigilant with your daily routines and what you do to replenish your energy. Rahu moving into your seventh house means that your focus will naturally pull a little bit more toward your relationships, and it could be a time for building new relationships or focusing on those relationships you are currently involved in. If either personal relationship, romantic relationships, or your business relationships can also come more into focus. So you might experience your relationships going through changes at this time, or your desires and within your relationships might go through changes at this time as well. And you might feel more in tune with what or which desires you truly hold and what you truly wish for and want from your partner, either your romantic partner or your business partner. But you can feel more in tune with what are your desires, or perhaps you're undergoing a change of desires during this time as well. Libra, for you, this takes place in your 6th house of health, effort, and routines, and your 12th house of sleep, dreams, and deep emotions. So for you, Ketu moves into your 12th house of your deep emotions. And so this can be a time where memories from the past or emotions from the past begin to surface. And it could be a time where subconscious patterns begin to surface for you to work through them at this time. It could also be a time when your dream and when your dream life is more active and you experiences changes in your sleep routines. So, or you may have trouble sleeping or trouble being able to relax and rest. And so it is a good time to focus a little bit extra on replenishing your energy, taking care of your energy and your physical health, creating stable routines and beneficial routines for yourself. This could also be a highly spiritual time for you with Ketu in your 12th. So it's a good time to develop your spiritual practices or deepening your sense of personal spirituality and your connection. It's a great time to focus on strengthening your intuition, and you might feel more naturally intuitive as well during this time. You might even begin to receive downloads, would you say that, as you sleep, and just intuitive knowledge coming to you when you least expect it. And so you might also feel a little bit more discerning and selective with what type of energy, situation, and people you surround yourself with at this time. With Rahu transiting your 6th house, it's a good time to focus a little bit extra on either your health, your exercise regimen, your dietary routines, and all of those things that help you feel at your most vital and most strongest self. So you could really benefit from laying down some new routines and creating new beneficial health routines for yourself at this time. It could also be a time of changes in your work, or rather the way you work and the efforts you are willing to make, and you can feel much motivated during this time to go the extra mile and to keep up with your commitments. And it could also be a time where there's certain changes in your commitments, or where you're feeling drawn to different areas of your work. So look at how you feel about your commitments, if they feel meaningful to you, if they feel worthwhile to you, and if you are working for something that you feel is in your best interests. Scorpio, for you, this takes place in your 5th house of creativity, passion, and children, and your 11th house of social circles, your higher vision, and your friendships. So Ketu moving into your 11th house could mean that you are becoming a little bit more discerning within your friendships. Perhaps you are becoming a little bit more selective with which social circles you move in, or which people you surround yourself with, how you are building your ultimate community and which community you wish to belong to. It could be a time where old friends resurface from the past, or new friendships fall by the wayside, and well, just changes on all the parts when it comes to your social life at this time. With Rahu moving into your 5th house, it could be a good time for launching new creative projects, or you're suddenly beginning to feel inspired by a new passion, a new project, or new desires that are starting to form. It could also be a time where you are going through certain changes in your desires, or projects that you have been working on suddenly no longer interest you, and you're ready for new challenges and new adventures, let's say. So it's a time where it's more in the focus for you to listen into your heart. What is it that you truly desire? What is it that you truly long to accomplish? And really focus more on that, because Rahu will connect you more into your inner passion and your inner fire, and which direction that pulls you in. So if you want to make changes, or there are certain things that no longer that you feel in your heart you are no longer invested in, or you've taken on too many projects, it could be a good time to look over, revise, and assess which projects, which commitments really feel valuable to you and really feel that you really wish to pursue. Sagittarius, for you this takes place in your 4th house of your emotions, home, and your mother, and your 10th house of work, career, and your personal authority. And so when Ketu moves into your 10th house, it could be a time where, if you have been feeling a little bit dissatisfied with your commitments at work, or your projects, or your tasks, that could all rise to the surface now. And it could be a time where your true feelings about your work begin to surface, if it is something that you're not really content with. And Ketu can also make you a little bit more self-critical at this time, and become more critical with your work performance, even make you more perfectionistic with the way you perform at your work. So keep this in mind as well. And don't measure yourself with too high a standard. Know that you do the best that you can, and be happy with that. But it could be a time where you are feeling the call to do certain changes, especially if it comes to changes between your work and your home life, and you feel you've invested too much time, or put in too much time at work and not enough time at home. This could all come into focus now. Rahu moving into your 4th house will actually bring the focus more into your inner environment and your home and your family, and put that more into focus. And it could also be a time where you feel like you want to do certain changes with your home, either renovate or redecorate, or make certain changes to create more harmony. And it could also be a time where you feel more intuitive, or where you just know things, and you get these intuitive knowledge about things. So it could be a good time to practice your intuition, but focus on your emotional well-being here, and creating emotional peace and harmony, because Rahu in the 4th house can really highlight your emotional attitudes toward things, and not always in the truest light, but as Rahu also creates illusions, and so try to maintain either a spiritual practice or a daily routine to create mindfulness and connection. Capricorn, for you this takes place in your 3rd house of interests, close community, siblings, and communication, and your 9th house of your teachings, your higher vision, and your beliefs. So Ketu moving into your 9th house can be a time where you are beginning to reevaluate what sort of teachings you are follow or what sort of life philosophy you are operating out of. And if you have been feeling disillusioned or dissatisfied with either your teachings or your teacher, it could be a time for making certain changes at this time where you are no longer feeling really connected with or inspired by something. It might just naturally fall by the wayside. And Rahu moving into your 3rd house means that your focus will naturally shift a little bit more toward your interests and your close community. And it could be a time of much communication for you of what message you are here to communicate and what you wish to share with your community, what message feels important to you. And it might also be a time where you're going through certain changes in your interests, either interests falling away or new interests beginning to form that really captures your desire and that really captures your curiosity. So it could be a time of learning for you, a time of finding new topics of interest that really capture your spirit and makes you feel more, more curious and happy to learn. So you can expect changes in your desires, but also there might be changes in your belief system, and you might feel your whole belief system just crumbling a little bit, if you will, with Ketu in your 9th. So be prepared for changing your mind about certain things during this time. Aquarius, for you this takes place in your 2nd house of family, values, and assets, and your 8th house of your deeper emotions and transformation. So with Ketu moving into your 8th house could be a quite emotionally intense time for you, where you could feel your intuition becoming a bit stronger, but you might also be more being more prone to becoming a bit more selective with what type of energy and which type of situations that you surround yourself with, and you could feel more open to the energy of others or the emotions of others. So be conscious about or mindful about what emotions are truly yours and what is just coming from the environment, let's say. It could also be a time where you're working through some old fears or old insecurities that are rising to the surface. So observe these, assess them when they happened, and focus on letting go what no longer feels aligned or what no longer serves you where you are currently. It could be a time of letting go of certain things from the past that are that you are revisiting during this time, past memories, subconscious patterns, and things from the past surfacing. Rahu in your 2nd house could also mean that you are focusing more on gaining assets or even letting go of certain beliefs or patterns that you may hold when it comes to either how you manage your money or the way you make money or how you manage your assets in general. So it could also be a time where even here you are letting go of certain values that perhaps are not really aligned with you, that you've perhaps gotten from the past, or family values that no longer feel aligned with your heart, that you are ready to let go of at this time. Pisces, for you this takes place in your 1st house of yourself, your body, your vitality, and your 7th house of your relationships, either love, romantic relationships or business relationships. Ketu moving in your 7th house could be a time where you naturally feel less inclined to compromise or make compromises with your desires. It could be a time where your relationships are undergoing certain changes, or where you realize you suddenly wish to take the relationship in a different direction, or where you are getting more in touch with your desires within that relationship. What is it that you truly want from your partner? What is it that you don't want? And to make certain adjustments accordingly. When Rahu moves into your 1st house, it could be a time where you are focusing more on your own path. What is it that you truly desire? Which direction do you wish to walk in, and to do that? It could also surface instances if you feel like you've given away too much of your power and you are ready to step into a new chapter and be more true to yourself even on your journey. Where are you at your journey? What feels important to you? What are your individual assets, and what do you wish to focus on? It could be a time very much focused on personal development and your personal individuation and becoming more of who you truly are. It's also a good time to focus a little bit on your physical well-being during this time, laying down some new routines perhaps for you and taking care of your energy levels. Be sure to replenish your energy during this time. But overall, it feels like a time where you're getting more in touch with what you want on your path, or which path you wish to follow. So that was it for this update. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment, or share the video with someone you feel would appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.